Warning, the following podcast contains adult language, themes, and situations. Also, the film we're about to talk about is going to be spoiled thoroughly. Listener discretion is advised. Enjoy the show.
In 1989, Cary Elwes, Charlie Sheen, Emilio Estevez, Judd Nelson, and Nicolas Cage were already bona fide leading man Hollywood stars. So how in the name of God were they convinced to show up as bit characters in a horribly written, cheesy as all hell 80s comedy that feels like it was written by a horny 13-year-old on acid? We'll do our best to figure that out as we suffer through 90 minutes of wall-to-wall torture, momentarily broken up by possibly Nicolas Cage's most wacky, over-the-top character of all time, in Never on Tuesday.
Okay, let's run.
I'm like a prickly pear.
What do you say we cut the chit-chat? A-hole! Porker, how'd it get burned? How'd it get burned? How'd it get burned? Hey, have you ever been dragged to the sidewalk and beat until you pissed blood?
Welcome to One Cage at a Time, the show where we break down every single Nicolas Cage movie, one film at a time. Here are your hosts, Patrick, Vince, and Nigel.
Two doofuses slam into the only other car on a deserted highway on their way to California, then ogle a smoking hot lesbian for the duration of the film, while major Hollywood stars show up randomly to deliver the worst performances of their careers. They should have just called this, hey, you know how, like, women are hot? The movie.
Ladies and gentlemen, here are your stars.
Never on Tuesday stars a guy who grew up to look like he has to go door to door to explain that he touched an 8-year-old once, but it was a huge misunderstanding, and eventually found his calling as the director of Friday Night Lights, Peter Berg, a bit part actor who is probably best known as satellite technician from Iron Man 3, Andy Lauer. The poor woman who has to spend the entirety of this film dodging the advances of the creepiest batch of assholes ever assembled in one film, who is best known as Susan Ivanova on Babylon 5, Claudia Christian. Did I say that right? I haven't seen Babylon 5, so I don't know.
I think so. I don't know. I never watched that show.
And, for some inexplicable reason, features cameos from Cary Elwes, Gilbert Gottfried, Charlie Sheen, Emilio Estevez, Judd Nelson, and, of course, the only reason we're watching this piece of crap, Academy Award-winning actor and weirdest Ferrari owner on Earth, Nicolas Kim Coppola, better known as Nicolas Cage.
Let's dive into the nitty-gritty.
Never on Tuesday, not to be confused with Never on Sunday or any movie that's actually good, was released on September 13th, 1989. Could not find budget, box office. I'm guessing there was no box office whatsoever. I'd be curious to see what the budget is. I'm guessing, I don't know, man, because we'll get into it in the quick facts, but like all of the stars who showed up, they all either got paid in scale or they got paid with favors or cocaine or, Charlie Sheen.
Charlie Sheen, yeah.
Winning.
But I would imagine it was all in one place pretty much. Mm-hmm. 250,000, 500,000, maybe.
Yeah, can't have been. I don't know how long it took. Did it say how long the shoot was?
Feel like it was shot within like 10 or 11 days or something like that. Yeah, all contained into one spot. So I can't imagine. Also get into it in the quick facts, but all of the stars had individual days that they showed up. So each, aside from the end with Cary Elwes and Emilio Estevez, everybody showed up on individual days and did their parts, and then that was it. That was their whole time on set. So I would imagine everything with those stars was shot in one day, and then all of the other bits were shot on the other days. So this was directed by Adam Rifkin, who seems to have made an entire career of "Aren't boobs cool?"
Yeah.
He also directed a movie called The Chase, which is the only movie that I really like that I've seen of his. It's kind of like a Charlie Sheen hidden gem, if you can call it that. It's a fun movie. It's kind of a fun like comedy, a little bit raunchy. Like kidnaps a girl and then she ends up, of course, falling in love with him because he's Charlie Sheen.
That's the one where they're on the run in the car, right?
Yep.
I think I watched that on TV when I was a kid, like made for TV movie.
It was on all the time way back in the day.
Yeah.
So it's still a fun movie. I haven't watched it in a long time, so please take that with a grain of salt. It might be just as shitty as Never on Tuesday. I haven't seen it in a long time. He also did Detroit Rock City, which actually got a lot of buzz and did pretty well about Kiss and all that stuff. And then The Last Movie Star. Most recently, he worked on a miniseries about Russ Meyer, who is like the king of sexploitation films. So that tracks. That's a perfect movie for him to do.
Yeah.
Boobs. Aren't they cool? This was written also by Adam Rifkin, who followed up this masterpiece with Going Overboard. Which has a 1.8 on IMDb, which I think is one of the lowest scores ever on IMDb. For context, Never on a Tuesday had a 4.5. So that tells you how shitty Going Overboard is.
Wow. The only thing I know of Going Overboard is in middle school. One of the guys on the bus that I rode had a VHS tape of some lesbian porno that he'd got from somebody. And we all took turns borrowing it, on the bus. And it was inside a Going Overboard sleeve. It's the only time I've ever heard of that movie, ever seen it on anything.
Wow.
So I just associate it with a shitty lesbian porn that was terrible even by 1990 standards before we had high-speed internet. But it's probably still was more enjoyable to watch than Going Overboard.
Oh, definitely. Easily.
What a weird connection. Lesbian porn and Going Overboard. That guy also wrote this movie about a lesbian.
Yeah, sometimes there's just kismet in life, Anyway, that moment brought to you by the dark ages of pre-internet or pre-high-speed internet, where you had to do that kind of stuff to get exposure as a young man.
Yeah, it was tough times back in those days.
So just that cover of Adam Sandler with the water wings or whatever the fuck.
Yeah.
It's burned in my mind.
It's hilarious.
Well, somehow after doing Never on Tuesday and Going Overboard, Adam Rifkin managed to keep a career and went on to write Small Soldiers and Mouse Hunt.
Yeah.
Small Soldiers, great. Mouse Hunt, garbage.
Mouse Hunt I love that movie when I was a kid. I watched that movie all the time.
Hate that movie.
Do you think it would hold up now if you watched it? It would hold up as
I
well as The
I would
Chase.
probably still like it because of how much I watched it as a kid, but no. I mean, it's got walking in it.
Oh my God, there's mice. 2 mice fell into a bucket of cream.
Nigel's romantic evening is Boston Market frozen dinner and Mouse Hunt on the TV. 2 things I couldn't hate more.
Yeah. And then he wipes his ass with a copy of The Weatherman afterwards. His career was so horribly impacted by Going Overboard that he started writing under the pseudonym Riff Coogan for a bit.
Awesome.
So I don't know what he wrote under Riff Coogan. But yeah.
Probably straight.
I mean, it's just amazing that you can keep a career after Never on Tuesday and Going Overboard. I mean, I'm sure that they did okay in the rental market or something.
Yeah.
Or just the morbid curiosity of Nicolas Cage is in this movie?
Skinamax, dude. Skinamax.
It's got a lasting legacy that nobody. It's just the whole movie's on YouTube, so nobody's claiming it. I don't think it's It hasn't fallen into public domain, but it kind of has, because it seems like one of those things where no one claims ownership of it because they don't care. So,
yeah. Even the director. We'll get into it in the quick facts, but even the director is just kind of like, who gives a fuck? Like, have at it. If you want to watch this piece of shit, go ahead. By all means. By the way, he was an executive producer. Adam Rifkin was an executive producer on Willy's Wonderland. So he's gone full circle.
Hell, really?
I was shocked to read that one. I was like, whoa, really?
Wow.
Yeah.
All right.
He's like, yeah, I mean, why are we not making movies right now? Adam Rifkin has had a career that has spanned 4 decades. 5 decades. 80s, 90s, 2000s, 2010s, 2020s. He's still fucking around.
I bet you have more money than Adam Rifkin. I bet you are much more successful.
Living in a 1-bedroom in Hollywood somewhere.
Yeah.
I produced Willy's Wonderland.
People like
I'm a
Mouse
star. People really like Mouse Hunt. While he eats Boston Market in his apartment, one light on. This was shot by Alan Jones. The Chase is the only other thing that I recognize that he ever did. Funny tie-in, though. He was an assistant cameraman on Enemy Mine, but also a focus puller on A Christmas Carol, the movie, for those weird live-action scenes.
Oh, God.
Apparently, he worked on the camera crew.
So this guy just touches garbage, in other words.
Yeah.
That's all he touches.
Hey, he did The Chase. And Enemy Mine. You like Enemy Mine, right?
Touche. Sorry, my bad.
Edited by Ed Rothkowitz, who also edited the Who's The Kids Are All Right. It did a ton of TV with Picket Fences, Chicago Hope, and then also did Silent Night, Deadly Night 3, which is not the one with Garbage Day. That's Silent Night, Deadly Night 2. And also worked as an assistant editor on Midnight Cowboy. I will never
Hollywood
understand
is a
how
weird place.
the system works, man. I don't know. So weird. How do you're like an assistant on Midnight Cowboy, and then you end up editing Never on Tuesday. You got to take your break when you get it, but maybe
I guess nobody else would touch it, I guess.
Yeah.
And he's like, oh, I'll figure it out.
that guy who edited Dark.
That guy did it with a gun to his head. Shitter's like,
Edit it.
you're gonna
Make it the way I wanted it.
I'm gonna
Get rid of the
be
third act.
successful one of these days.
Music by Richard Stone. If you listen to the music in this piece of shit, you will definitely think cartoon. So it's no shock that he went on to do mostly WB cartoons after this.
That makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, the music is so cartoony and like goofy the whole way through. He wrote the music for Tiny Toons, Tasmania, Freakazoid, and Animaniacs.
Wow.
That's
He write
crazy.
the Freakazoid theme song? And the Animaniacs theme song?
I think he did. He had like a co-writing credit on the Animaniacs one.
Wow.
Which is also crazy. That's a really memorable theme song. Which is crazy. But then he also scored Pumpkinhead.
Solid music in that one.
That is great music, yeah.
Yeah, it actually is pretty good music compared to this. The music
So
did not fit this.
not cartoony at all in Pumpkinhead.
Yeah.
Also was in the music department for Cujo, Top Secret. Top Secret makes sense. Ferris Bueller's Day Off, Platoon, The Big Easy, Pretty in Pink, etc. But sadly, he died way too young. He was only 47 when he passed of pancreatic cancer. But already had a massive career at that point. If you think about those WB cartoons kind of painted our whole childhood.
Yeah, I was going to say his legacy is going to live on forever because Animaniacs is still one of the most recognizable theme songs out there.
Yeah.
Looney
Crazy.
Tunes as well. So that's insane.
Yeah. And I still love Pumpkinhead. Talked about that movie a lot. I love that movie.
Yes, you have.
Ratings. Rotten Tomatoes score is a 0. There is nothing. There's no reviews from Rotten Tomatoes whatsoever. So I have just a big NA for that. Audience score, though, because audience can always vote, 38%, which is high. That's very high. Which is USS Indianapolis had a 30%. So I mean,
I enjoyed it more
I think
than
I'd rather
USS
watch
Indianapolis.
You'd rather watch USS Indianapolis than this?
No. I'd rather. I mean, I would rather not watch either. But I think I enjoyed it more than USS Indianapolis.
At least this one's shorter.
Yeah,
It's way shorter.
this one's a little bit more. I don't want to use the word cohesive, but
it does
but
flow and
structured?
make more sense than
Yeah.
USS Indianapolis. Yeah. Metacritic score, nothing, of course. IMDb 4.5 out of 10, which also feels really high.
Yeah.
4.5 out of 10.
I think people are just like they watched the cameos on YouTube and just rated the movie based on that.
I
To
would
be
give
fair,
the
that's
movie
the
a
movie,
2
so.
just based on Cary Elwes. Fucking so stupid. How did he have a movie career after that? Well, that's when hot patootie out there. Fucking stupid. And of course, A+ cinema score. It was released wide across the country. No, of course, no cinema score. So no cinema score, no Metacritic score, no Rotten Tomatoes score. That is the first time that's ever happened on this show. Yeah. The trifecta of awfulness.
Yeah,
Nobody.
this
rates
is like
you,
it's
piece
not
of
even
shit.
a direct to video. It's like a direct to nothing. Like there's no box
much,
office.
yeah.
There's just nothing.
Yeah. I feel
Direct
like
to
it
YouTube.
might have been just scrapped and put on a shelf, and then I don't really know how the Nick Cage cameo blew up and went viral. But that's the only reason I think anybody knows about this movie.
Yeah.
It wasn't on his credits for the longest time.
Well, we only know about it because of the AMA, right? That he did,
I think
or did you know about it before that?
I knew about it because it was like released all over the place. It suddenly just popped up everywhere. And then Adam Rifkin did an AMA, and then Nick Cage was asked about it in an AMA after that. So I saw the clip and I was like, there's no way that this is real.
How about a Coppola quick facts?
Quick facts. To paint the whole story, I have to go through the entire thing here because I went through Adam Rifkin's AMA. That's where most of this information came from. And he did an interview, I forget, with The Guardian or somebody like that. 20-year-old Adam Rifkin, who directed this, was good friends with Cary Elwes, brother of Cary, whose stepdad just happens to be Elliot Kastner, who is a legendary producer who worked on a bunch of Jack Nicholson movies, Marlon Brando and Paul Newman films, tons of stuff. So you with me so far? Now we already are starting to get a clearer picture of how this got made.
So that was the Elwes stepdad. Is that producer?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. Cassian and Cary's stepdad. Rifkin managed to score a meeting with Kastner and pitched a movie called The Dark Backwards, which is a dark comedy about a three-armed stand-up comedian, which he eventually made. This is a real movie that actually came out.
Okay.
That was the pitch. It was dark comedy, three-armed comedian. But Kastner wasn't into that genius pitch. Kastner said he'd let Rifkin direct a movie, even after hearing that pitch. But it has to be for a teen audience, a la The Breakfast Club, which was very popular at the moment. Rifkin, being the enterprising 20-year-old that he was, not wanting to blow his shot of getting a chance to direct a movie, scrambled and wrote the script in like 3 days. Because they had a meeting on like Monday, and he was like, "Do you have any like teen comedy type things?" And he was like, "Of course I do." And he was like, "Okay, bring it to me Thursday and we'll talk about it again." So Thursday arrives and he hands him Never on Tuesday. Okay. So that's how that happened. As for the cameos, Cary Elwes, co-producer Brad Wyman, and Adam Rifkin all grew up in Los Angeles with all of these stars. And the three of them went about trying to convince their star friends one at a time to make small appearances that they could easily do whatever they wanted to do with. So each one of them was told, "Come in, just do whatever the fuck you want, and we'll just film it, and it'll be great."
Also checks.
Doesn't have to make sense for the movie. Doesn't have to work. Just come in, do whatever you want to do, and then leave. So they'd each come in for a day, do a kooky character, and leave. I want to quickly just track where everybody was in their careers up to that point, just for context. So Judd Nelson had done The Breakfast Club and St. Elmo's Fire with Emilio Estevez. So he's already a star. Emilio Estevez was also a big star, thanks to Breakfast Club, of course, but had also done starring roles in Maximum Overdrive, Stakeout, and was about to do Young Guns. So he was huge already. His brother Charlie Sheen was fresh off Best Picture winner Platoon and left the set of Wall Street to come do this movie. He was filming Wall Street and came to do this. Cary Elwes had just finished filming The Princess Bride. Gilbert Gottfried was one of the hottest stand-ups in Hollywood, and had just filmed his role in Beverly Hills Cop 2. And Nicolas Cage was fresh off of Peggy Sue Got Married, Raising Arizona, and Moonstruck. So, holy shit, dude. Like, how... I mean, they must have been really good friends to this guy. Like...
To Cage?
To
like all of them?
To Adam Rifkin and Brad Wyman and Cary Elwes, like them convincing this like level of Hollywood stardom to come into their movie. Yeah. I still have to wonder, like, how the hell did they know Gilbert Gottfried? The other guys are about the same age and like seem like they might have gone to high school together, but like Gilbert Gottfried.
Maybe they ran into him at a party or something. It's like, you know.
We're making a movie, Gilbert. Oh, I'll do anything.
I definitely felt like he just showed up and was just being himself.
Yeah, he just was doing his shtick. Yeah. They all were. Filming for Never on Tuesday took place in Borrego Springs, California, which is in the middle of nowhere, I think. It looks like it's in the middle of nowhere.
Yeah.
The cameo actors were flown out to Borrego Springs on their individual filming days and then flown back that same day. So flew in, did a shtick, flew out. It's fucking crazy. I can't even think of another movie that has something like this, aside from like those holiday movies that they did where they like did Valentine's Day and then they were like, we got Brad Pitt for 30 seconds and we got Danny Glover shows up too, and you know, like those movies where just random cameos happen for no good reason. So it's crazy, dude, the star power in this piece of shit.
At the peak of all these guys stardom too. I mean, that's nuts.
It's crazy, dude. The film's crew members included producer Cary Elwes, of course, and makeup artist Cheryl Burkhoff, who is now married to Rob Lowe, who grew up with Charlie Sheen and Emilio Estevez, who are good friends with Nicolas Cage. Starting to all make sense now.
Too bad Rob Lowe wasn't in this. It would have been awesome.
Kind of shocked that Rob Lowe wasn't. He was probably... What was Rob Lowe doing at the time? I don't know.
The Stand. I don't know.
That was like late 90s.
I can't remember when that was shot.
Yeah, I only remember him in 90s movies. I don't remember him doing stuff in the 80s.
He was in a lot of stuff in the 80s.
Yeah.
He was kind of a pseudo member of the Brat Pack back in the day. Cage was told that he could do whatever he wanted with his cameo. So the rubber nose, the jacket, the hair, the voice, all of that. That was all Nicolas Cage. During a Reddit AMA, Cage said, "I didn't get paid."
Wow, he didn't even get scale.
He didn't get nothing. But the agreement was with the director and whoever was financing the picture. He literally said, and whoever the fuck was financing this piece of shit, that if I do it, they would let me do whatever I wanted. So it was a complete avant-garde experiment. And of course, I played a character who had a prosthetic nose, which was very long and pointed. Cage said that he was trying to convey a troubled live-action version of Pinocchio.
Oh, God.
It kind of works when you think of it in that context.
It really
Is
does.
anybody hurt? Kind of moves like Pinocchio.
Yeah.
He's got the nose.
I thought this was like the prequel to Eddie King.
Yeah, I was like,
He
this
got
sounds
nose
like
surgery.
this sounds like the prototype for Arsenal, where he just sort of
Yes,
like came
yeah.
in for a day, did whatever the fuck he wanted, even though he got paid for that. Put a fake nose on and did all that shit.
God
He
damn,
just-
that's
Don't give
made
Nick
a
Cage
career.
free reign to do whatever he wants. Is the
Yeah.
lesson.
reel him
That's
in.
the lesson, yeah. It's like that Seth Rogen story where he's talking about how he wanted to play like a Rastafarian with like bleach blonde hair
Wasn't that for
and
Spring Breakers?
braces and shit. And then Spring Breakers came out. And he's like, "Did you steal my character?
Oh, yeah, yeah,
Fuck, man." It's unclear what connection him playing fucking live action Pinocchio has to do with the rest of the film, but he called it his favorite lesser known performance. It's so Nick
Yeah.
Cage, dude.
And here we are.
When we meet him,
Anybody hurt?
when we meet him, I'm gonna tell him, yeah, thanks for that, buddy. Your performance was hilarious, but then we had to sit through the rest of that garbage film.
Although I think in that same AMA, he says, "Don't watch that movie. Just watch his scene."
Yes,
in it.
yes,
he does. He did
yeah.
warn everybody.
Yeah, but we're not
Yeah.
that smart. We could have just done a clip of it.
Rifkin says the same thing. I'll get to it in a second. But with a limited budget, the cast and crew shot on film, which is surprising. They ended up using short ends, which are sections of the film that's left over in the canister. So, like, you can buy a bunch of short ends and load them up, and you can film for like 2 minutes, and then you're out. You know, a normal production, they just throw that shit away because they're like, what are we going to do with 2 minutes? We can't possibly film something in 2 minutes.
You can film a Nick Cage
very
cameo.
cheap to buy. It was
forward.
very cheap to buy back then. I don't know if it's cheap to buy still, but I feel like film has kind of come back a little bit, but it's also harder to get now. So
Yeah.
Yeah, I think if you're going to do it cheaply, you just do digital.
yeah, just do digital nowadays. Shoot the whole movie on an iPhone nowadays.
Yeah, you could if you wanted to.
Claudia Christian says, "We were constantly trying to shove a 4-minute scene into a 2-minute film stock throughout the whole thing." This film was released on VHS video by Paramount Home Entertainment in 1989 and was originally slated to be re-released in the United States on DVD through City Light Entertainment, but then that company went out of business.
What?
So it was like
that's
a
why I
direct to
think
video.
it was like it was law. Like nobody really has the rights
Yeah.
anymore because I think this City Light Entertainment bought it, and then they went out of business. So I think it's just kind of floating. It's
Yeah.
just nebulous.
And
at this
somebody
point.
We should
ripped
make
a
a
VHS
sequel.
copy that they had and put it online.
Yeah.
Sequel.
When asked if he was excited at the renewed interest in his film, or if he expects a Blu-ray release to come out. Adam Rifkin said, no.
Yeah.
But I'm thrilled that the Nick Cage clip is available. And then he went on to say, it's my first film. I was 20 years old. I didn't know what the hell I was doing. If I could go back in and re-edit the whole thing, then maybe I'd be okay with everybody getting a chance to see it. He was pretty critical of the movie himself.
Yeah, I think it'd actually be pretty interesting if he did go back and re-edit it. I'd be interested to see
why
how
would you do it.
Yeah, like why would that'd be torture.
Yeah, but I think it'd be interesting to see how he would shape that film now.
I mean, based on his work afterwards, I still don't feel like it would be all that great.
No, I don't think it would be. I'm not saying it would be great. I'm just interested to see how he would shape it and how he would change, or what he would change around. Probably just mainly just all the scenes of her naked, I would imagine. He just does a compilation of that.
It's just that. Then the third act is just a bunch of fuzzy TV and screaming over the top of it.
And some dollar store 9 Inch Nails music in the background.
Muhammad Banir.
Banir, damn it.
What's her name? Claudia Christian. Mm-hmm. She's done a bunch of video game voice acting.
Yeah, she's a huge voice actress.
Yeah.
So I think the 4 people that watch this may have encountered her in video games more than anything else. I know I had.
Yeah.
Or Babylon 5. I haven't watched Babylon 5 though.
She surprisingly, I think, is the best actor in the whole movie.
Yes.
Out of everyone in the whole movie.
I thought that's why I looked her up, because I was like, she probably had a career after this, because she seems like she was a good actress. But I mean, kind of, I guess she did a lot of TV work, and then voice acting.
She's still working today. So.
She's done a lot of voice acting for Bethesda games and other stuff. So
yeah. And thank God Peter Berg started directing, because Jesus Christ, he cannot act.
He's produced, he's acted. He's shown up in a lot of things as bit parts.
Fucking Nigel, dude.
But yeah, he's been all over the place since this. Everybody went on to have a career. It's shocking.
That's Hollywood for you, baby.
Yeah. Once you get in, you're kind of in.
Unless you get me too.
Unless you diddle some kids.
Well, then you're still
allegedly
for quite a while.
You're still in, actually. Yeah, you're kind of fine.
Mm-hmm.
True.
Seems like Bryan Singer is still doing fine.
Fucking Singer. Spacey's about to have a comeback.
Yeah,
Weinstein
Spacey's
too.
about to come back. Weinstein's getting released. Yeah, him and Bill Cosby should do a buddy film together.
Yeah. Cosby and Spacey should do the Odd Couples reboot.
Why don't you clean up the roofies after you use them?
All right, it's time to break down the film one scene at a time. Act 1. Why don't we set some shit up?
Our film begins with a projected reel of California women's asses. It's like someone's home movie, or like yeah, my uncle went to California for a while.
Adam Rifkin just went to a beach and filmed.
I'm pretty sure that's what he did. He just went down to the beach.
It kind of looks like it might be like 8mm or something like that. Like, let's just head down to the beach and get some asses. How about we? It's like cut footage from I Wish They All Were California Girls from David Lee Roth. It felt like it was something lifted from that. Anyways, a dweeb and a bigger dweeb ogle California bikini asses while talking about how moving from Ohio to California, they're guaranteed to hook up with drop-dead gorgeous women every night since they're both so cool. Next, we see our heroes driving through the desert in a car adorned with a bumper sticker that says California or boobs. Fuck. It's already off to a great start.
Did they begin to custom make that bumper sticker, or did that already exist?
It had to be something they custom made. Because who would make that stupid ass bumper sticker?
I don't know. I've seen some really stupid bumper stickers. You know my feelings on bumper stickers.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The less dorky of the dorks, Eddie, asks how his hair looks, and Matt, who looks like he just wrapped a day on Revenge of the Nerds, says, "Who cares? Gonna go rape somebody in a mask."
Jesus.
Oh my God.
Guys, remember Revenge of the Nerds? It's so slightly problematic nowadays.
It's due for a Bryan Singer reboot.
Eddie insists on making sure his hair looks great even in the middle of the desert so he can feel good about himself. And the two of them argue about Eddie's hair for the next 45 minutes or so. I'm just guessing because I already started blacking out. Matt messes up Eddie's hair since he won't shut up about it, which causes the car to crash into the only other car on this abandoned highway. I'm not even kidding. They see like 3 cars the rest of the whole fucking movie. Rather than worry whether they just murdered someone, like Evan Lake in Dying of the Light, he just like pulls his car in front of the dump truck or whatever. Yeah. They just sit in the car for a while, and Eddie yells at his friend for destroying his car. Eddie's a piece of shit.
Yeah,
I fucking hate Eddie from the jump. Yeah. Matt agrees to pay for the damages to the car as long as Eddie goes to see if there's a mangled corpse in the VW Bug they just T-boned. Which they T-boned even though they were like heading straight towards each other. I guess she swerved. And
Yeah.
I don't know. They agree to both check on the driver, who just so happens to be a blonde bombshell named Tuesday, which is a real name that people actually go by, I guess, who is driving cross country wearing high heels. That's how I drive.
Mm-hmm. And a business suit, sort of, with no bra.
She's got to get ready for her New York trip.
Yeah, that's in, 3 days or whatever. How hard it takes
5 days to fucking get over there. My theory, okay, bear with me. My theory is that these 2 idiots died, and what we're watching is the last synapses of their dying brains firing in unison together. So Eddie would obviously imagine a hot girl in his dying brain, and Matt, the storyteller, as we find out later on, explains why there are so many weirdos that they encounter on the rest of the film. So that, to me, that's the only explanation as to what we're about to see after this. They're dead.
I'm buying it.
Yep. I'm sold.
It just gets more and more ridiculous as the movie goes on, too. So it's just like their brains are just dying. Just like in Dying of the Light.
Yep.
There's lots of Dying of the Light references in this.
Who would have thought?
Nobody watched that movie either.
Yeah.
Nobody watched our episode of that movie either. Anyways, she gets out of the car to the sounds of Great Balls of Fire by Jerry Lee Lewis, which seems appropriate and inappropriate at the same time.
Now, never mind. I won't make that joke.
Yeah. Jerry Lee Lewis, also kind of problematic nowadays.
Yeah.
Just a bit. After a quick ogling, Eddie runs to the car to put half a gallon of mousse in his hair. Then Tuesday struggles to open her trunk while Matt just fucking leers at her. Just get used to that. They both ask if Tuesday is hurt and then say that the accident might have been partially their fault. She struggles some more to get the trunk open, since that's where the engine is to VW Bugs, and Tuesday wonders if there's a phone nearby in the barren wasteland that they've crashed in. But they soon find out that there are no towns in either direction for hours. She asks why the hell they were swerving all over the road, and Eddie says, well, we weren't doing anything gay or anything like that. Which is 100% not true.
I'm just trying to fix my hair.
Tuesday wanders down the road a bit, leaving Eddie and Matt to eye-rape her some more. Then they do some really weird high five, complete with a nose wipe of some sort. It's like they sniff their fingers. I don't know. They're just, that's how you can tell that they've been friends for a long time. Eddie says, California has so many beautiful babes, they're spilling out into the neighboring states. Then says, I get her first. And they argue for a while about which one gets to be on Tuesday first. No, me, no. I'm going to really date this episode, but this is why women are choosing the bear over me.
God damn it.
Ultimately, they flip a coin to decide who gets to rape and kill this poor woman first. This is just off to such a creepy start, dude.
Yeah.
Tuesday returns and tells them she has an important meeting in New York on Monday, and when they ask her name and she says Tuesday, they mouth Tuesday at each other and bite their fists. Fuck you. Fuck you. Matt tells Tuesday about his uncle Levi and his cousin Abraham who live in New York. And Tuesday is mildly amused at how dorky Matt seems to be. Suddenly, a Ferrari pulls up, driven by the greatest actor to ever live, for some reason. We see the only reason anyone still watches this god-awful movie hop out of the car wearing a red windbreaker / trash bag, a long rubber nose, and a haircut that would make Anton Chigurh jealous. In a nasally voice, he says, "Is anybody hurt?" while gesturing like a weirdo. Then he says, "Can I give anybody a lift?" But Eddie says, "No, man, that's all right. We got everything under control," while making a "we're about to gang rape this poor woman" gesture. Pinocchio laughs like a goddamn maniac while Tuesday rolls her eyes, and he eventually makes a goofy sad face and then gets in the car and speeds off. Thus concludes the entirety of his performance in this film. If only if they had gotten into the car, we either would have been spared the rest of this piece of shit, or we could have had a really weird version of The Hitcher, where this living cartoon character could have slowly tried to kill them for the rest of the movie, which would have been way better. Both of those options sounds way better.
Apparently, at this time in his career, he was really into doing physical representations.
He really
of cartoons.
was.
And he just came off from Raising Arizona, which is what he does.
He
playing
did
cartoon characters and doing goofy voices.
Gumby in Peggy Sue Got Married, Woody Woodpecker in Raising Arizona, Pinocchio and Never on Tuesday. What the fuck, dude? 3 different movies.
Max Shrek in Vampire's Kiss. It's not a cartoon, but
yeah. So it would have been so much fun to watch him do like a Hitcher type of thing in this character.
Right, Patrick.
I don't need gas. I cut off his head. And I'm going to do the same to you.
Let me show you I'm a real boy.
Geppetto wouldn't like it that I'm doing this. Tuesday asks if the idiots have insurance, and Eddie says, "Farm state." Prompting Tuesday to say, "Thank God for small wonders." Couldn't say State Farm, like Farm State.
They only had enough for Pepsi product placement in this movie.
Yeah, just a random
That one random fucking shot. Yeah, we'll get to that.
that paid for the whole movie.
Tuesday says they need to head to the nearest town and file a police report, while Matt and Eddie look at her like Looney Tunes characters imagining someone as a piece of meat while starving in the desert. That's all they do in this whole first act is just leer at her like creeps.
Yeah.
They stare at her breasts and zone out while she explains her plan and snaps them out of it by saying, "Is that satisfactory to you?" And when they wake up from their sex coma, she tells them to follow her. because her car starts at this point, but theirs doesn't. I left that part out, but yeah, she was able to get the car started for a second. In the car, Eddie yells at Matt for agreeing to go to town to file a report rather than just raping her or whatever the hell his plan was. And suddenly, neither car will start. Eddie is stoked since it means that this poor woman has to endure some more creepy leering from him and Matt and every other person who stops by, and the audience, the camera, every
film crew.
fucking film crew. Eddie takes a look under Tuesday's hood or whatever sophomoric reference we're going for at this point. He says, well, here's your problem. You got no engine. Because he looks under the car's trunk. See?
Yeah.
That's where the hood.
Funny, because they already set it up.
Yeah,
to explain
they already did that.
That there's an engine in the back. It would have been funnier if they hadn't done that.
That's real funny. But Matt dorkily reminds him that it's in the back. Eddie says if he could open the trunk, he could fix the car. But of course he can't because he is a goddamn moron. Tuesday reassures him his masculinity is safe, and Eddie tells Matt that she wants him since he can read women like a book. Which is pretty clear that he hasn't read a single book in his life. Except Playboy, I don't know. Tuesday suggests they move the cars off the road, and while she's doing it, Eddie stares at her ass some more. Like 70% of this film is staring at this girl's ass and tits. So far, it's like 90%, but, you know.
Yeah.
It peters out as they They get the cars off the road. Tuesday sits down on the bumper and looks up to find Matt and Eddie ogling her some more. Is this seriously all this movie is? Like 10 minutes in, they're just staring at her.
Yep.
Tuesday starts talking all sexy, and suddenly it seems like these dudes' fantasies are about to come true. She gestures for them to come sit with her, and after she teases them for a bit, she drops the bomb that she's a lesbian and walks away as Matt and Eddie fall into each other for a soft little kiss on the lips. Comedy. They're disgusted to find out she's a lesbian, since if she was straight, she'd obviously be way into these absolute studs. Eddie asks why she's a lesbo, and she says, "Why are you a heterosexual?" And they think to themselves like two monkeys trying to figure out a calculus problem for a second before saying, "Because we dig chicks." Beefs and Butthead prototypes.
Yeah. I wonder if that's where he got these characters.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah. She says, "So do I," and they're left dumbfounded. I'm guessing the two of them are often left dumbfounded by people saying stuff like, "Please stop eating the crayons," and "You're not moving on to second grade."
Glue is not a meal.
Stop eating that. How did you kill the cat? Tuesday goes for a stroll while Eddie and Matt have a nice chat about how Tuesday can't possibly be a lesbian since she's hot. That's just how that works. She's too hot to be a lesbian. Only uggos are lesbians. We all know that.
Oh, Jesus.
Eddie says Tuesday just thinks she's a lesbian since she's just not been with the right guy yet. Spoilers, but I am so glad that they ended up not getting together, like that they kept her a lesbian, because like that's not how lesbianism works, first of all. And second, he can't possibly be the guy that's gonna like turn her straight. There's no fucking way. Eddie. They ogle her some more, and Eddie says she's a woman. What a woman needs is a man. And suddenly we cut to some pubescent fantasy in Eddie's head where we see Eddie at a pool with Tuesday, where she climbs out in a bikini and says, "I never thought I could love a man until I met you, Eddie." And they make out while he takes her bottoms off.
It's the same thing I said to Nigel when I met him.
It was a kiddie pool. It wasn't even a real pool.
Yeah, it was a kiddie pool. Yeah.
We're just splashing around in the backyard. Thankfully, we cut away from Eddie's wet dream before little Eddie has a chance to make a cameo. They're fond of cameos in this movie. And we see that between the three of them, they have about enough food to last the next hour or so. Tuesday again says she'll never make it to New York on time, and Matt asks what's in New York. She explains that she's a photographer and has an assignment that starts on Monday, since she'd never start on a Tuesday. Get it? Because, sorry, I hate myself. I'm sorry. She says the job came from her lover, who is a model named Rachel, and Matt chokes on his spit, and Tuesday laughs at him. They're just becoming fast friends already. These two leering teenagers. Eddie tells Matt to calm down before saying, "Oh, cheese sauce." Which Tuesday thinks is hilarious. And they all laugh and say cheese sauce over and over.
God, Matt, would you just calm down? Cheese sauce.
Cheese sauce?
Huh?
It sounded like you just said cheese sauce.
Cheese sauce.
Cheese sauce.
Cheese sauce.
Cheese sauce.
Cheese sauce.
Cheese sauce, man.
Cheese sauce.
I thought he was trying to say Jesus.
Yeah, he was. But he says,
I know, I'm just joking.
He said, "Oh, cheese sauce." Mouse Hunt. That was a great movie.
Fuck that
great
movie.
movie that Adam Rift made.
Toy Soldiers? Awesome.
Toys.
I love that movie.
She asks if they brought anything to drink, and then suggests that they can drink her window washer water if they get desperate. Yum. Eddie spots a car, and this time around, the Goofy's All Hell cameo is from Gilbert Gottfried. He drives past them before doing a U-turn to cartoon music for some reason.
Well, we know the reason. Now.
Yeah, we know now. But that guy had never done a cartoon up to that point.
He found his calling.
He found his calling. Yeah.
Nailed it. R.I.P.
Well, I mean, Gilbert Gottfried was like a living cartoon character. So
Yeah, that's true.
Basically, yeah.
R.I.P. to him, too.
Good. Yeah. Wow. We're going to slowly check off the dead bodies on this one. I guess that's it, right?
Yeah,
Okay.
I was like, I don't think anybody else is dead.
I mean, Charlie Sheen is dead inside, but he's still
Judd Nelson might be dead. Has anybody even checked on Judd Nelson in 20 years?
He turned into a puddle on my porch.
Gilbert hops out and immediately tries to sell them some dumbass comb that's a combination hairbrush, toothbrush, lint brush, and dog brush, while they just beg him for a ride. Like, so they didn't ask Cage for a ride, maybe because he was the way he was.
Yeah, because they wanted to get with Tuesday,
Yeah.
but now they know she's lesbian, so they just
I
want to
guess
get
that's
out of
true.
there.
Anyways, after 20 minutes of Gilbert Gottfried shtick, Matt buys a comb for $20, and Gilbert leaves them to die in the desert since Eddie and Tuesday didn't also buy a brush. And he doesn't have a license or something. He says, I don't have a license.
Thankfully, we spared
picture
everybody
Gilbert Gottfried.
the Gilbert Gottfried shtick with a brief summary.
It just takes forever. It's snake oil salesman, but Gilbert Gottfried. That's it.
Act 2, The Conflict.
Next, our 3 stars play Tommy Wiseau style football in the desert, like really trying to conserve the limited water and food they have. And if you're keeping track, this is Tuesday's first outfit change of more than you'd think. Spoilers, she wears at least like 5 to 6 outfits in their day, and like their day and a half in the desert. And after 5 minutes of no one catching the football like one goddamn time, Tuesday throws a long pass, which triggers an erotic fantasy for Matt this time. So, thanks, movie. One of like 1,000. So buckle in, buckaroos. He smiles longingly at her crotch for a bit before he flashed to her holding him in her arms, which is also a recurring theme, after getting back from being married in a church or temple or whatever. She chucks him on the bed and he stoops her right in her chutzpah. Oh, God damn it. Back in reality, Tuesday says she has to pee, so she asks the guys to face the other way while she goes and BMs in a bush. Our heroes debate if she's really gay again, and Eddie thinks she's just bi. Eddie argues that it's fine to turn someone gay to straight, but not natural to turn someone from straight to gay. Which I have to argue because I'm still holding out hopes one day, Nigel. One day you'll finally give in.
You can scoop him in his chutzpah.
Oh my God, dude. Matt argues that Tuesday is who she is and they shouldn't try to change her. Wasn't he like fantasizing about her pegging him like 10 seconds ago? We find out that they've been stuck for 7 hours already, and we get another classic Eddie and Matt argument about whose fault it was that caused the crash. These guys, they're so lovable dudes. Tuesday gets involved, and the three of them argue for what feels like another 7 hours until Matt finally lets loose the fact that Eddie wants to convert Tuesday back to the land of flaccid morons. And they all scream incoherent shit at each other before sulking silently till dusk. Jesus, I hope Nick Cage's character comes back and dissects all three of them. Tuesday breaks the tension.
Is anybody about to be hurt?
I want that movie now. I want to see him as a serial. Maybe that's what Longlegs is. Maybe he brings back the Pinocchio character as a serial killer. Oh shit!
That'd be amazing.
That'd be awesome. Tuesday breaks the tension and says they should stop all this silliness and get along before saying cheese sauce, which makes them all laugh like a bunch of handicapped kids farting in a hot tub, or like the three of us watching Arthur tell us he probably won't need a jacket as we cuddle in that Denver motel room.
Pretty much everywhere, it's gonna be hot. Try that?
Then I don't need a jacket. Thanks, Arthur.
Night falls and we see their dismembered corpses scattered in pieces across the desert. No way, I slipped into one of those fantasies everybody keeps having in this film. We see them sitting around a fire talking about sex. What else would they be talking about? Matt says he groped a breast or something when he was 16, and Eddie says he kissed the same girl Matt groped when he was 10, which I'm pretty sure was just Eddie's mom. Tuesday asks if either of them have girlfriends with a straight face, and they of course say no, but things will be different when they get to LA. These dudes are definitely going to end up working at Jiffy Lube or McDonald's or doing gay for pay porn in the San Fernando Valley. They have the acting chops for it.
They do.
Yeah. She asks if they're virgins, and they are disgusted at the idea that two dudes who stare at a woman they don't even know, like she's the first woman they've seen in 20 years after being in prison, might be virgins. Matt says he lost his virginity to a bucktooth Coke bottle glasses wearing nerd named Lisa, who kind of sort of raped him, is what I was getting from that, right?
Yeah.
Might explain his fantasies a bit.
Eddie says his first time was great, and then he describes how a woman's breast feels like a bag of sand. So you know he's telling the truth. He says when he was 15, he went to Chicago with his dad, and one thing led to another. No, not that. He met a girl, and she banged him in a see-through glass elevator. Matt calls bullshit and says Eddie told him his first time was in the back of his dad's plumbing truck. I guess his dad really knows how to fix pipes, you see. They ask Tuesday about her first time, and she tells an honest, heartfelt story about falling for her best friend, and we turn back to see Eddie and Matt spanking it with their eyes bulging out of their heads. We find out her first lover died in a car accident, which is funny because that's what brought them all together. No, it's actually super serious and poignant moment in this otherwise ridiculous and stupid film.
It's kind of out of place.
Yeah, it's really out of place. It's kind of, I feel like a lot of these more heartfelt moments are very forced, and it was his attempt at trying to be John Hughes. Hence the teen comedy BS that he asked for. But suddenly Anthony Michael Hall shows up and does a Daffy Duck impression for like 3 minutes, then runs off into the desert while his pants are on fire. No, that didn't happen. But I mean, I think you could totally see that being in this movie. Eddie says he believes in reincarnation and says,
I want to come back as a lion.
And then Matt does an Elvis impression, which is way stupider than Anthony Michael Hall pretending to be Daffy Duck.
I want to come back as Elvis. I want to come back as the king. We know can be true.
Tuesday says she wants to come back as a bug and that she's always wanted to have an exoskeleton. Jesus Christ, this fucking movie. This is a real movie that actually got made.
Oh, God.
Like somebody paid money to make this after reading this script, and everyone went on to have careers afterwards. There's even a cameo by an Oscar winner wearing a rubber nose in this fucking film.
It's the power of nepotism right there.
Yeah,
I guess.
It's who you know in any industry, including film, and especially film.
Tuesday asks how long Matt and Addie have been a couple, friends, and they say since nursery school. Matt recounts he and Eddie's entire history as friends, but Eddie trails off, and we cut to another fantasy he'll jerk off to later in the desert. We are gifted with the vision of Eddie and Tuesday showering together, complete with bare, exposed breasts for zero reason. Then we cut back to Eddie sporting a semi next to the fire. Like, what the fuck was that?
I don't know why there has to be any nudity in this movie. I guess if you maybe that was something that they requested because it was supposed to be
like a teen movie,
teen movie. But at the same time, it's like Breakfast Club didn't have any breasts, and I don't know. It just feels out of place and weird.
Yeah,
that's because Breakfast Club is comedy. A good movie, and you can enjoy it because it's a good movie.
That's right.
It's not a good movie, so why else would you need to watch it other than to see boobs?
It's really weird to think back about the fact that teen movies relied heavily on nudity.
Yeah, another thing the internet fixed.
Yeah,
making
or ruined.
Movies. Yeah, but I mean fixed in the sense that movies don't have to shove tits into them.
Yeah.
Now
you can actually tell a good story, and you don't have to shove.
Because you can just go watch them wherever you want. You don't it's not a selling point, so they stopped doing it.
True.
Yeah. Well, they also went away from R-rated a lot.
Because
they weren't making money.
Before we get a chance to think too much about Eddie's wet dream, we're treated to easily the stupidest thing that happens in this movie. Now, keep in mind, we just saw Nicolas Cage doing a Pinocchio impression and Gilbert Gottfried selling a dog brush to a dude in the middle of the desert. Tuesday says she used to tell ghost stories at camp, and Eddie says Matt is an amazing storyteller, and boy, let me tell you, sure is. Tuesday and Eddie huddle under a blanket like they're 8 as Matt tells a story about some hitchhikers who get lost in a foggy desert before a car pulls up with no driver and zombies attack them while pulling his own hair, knocking his glasses off, and wearing them upside down. It's a fucking great storyteller, my ass. That story fucking sucked.
My attention kind of wavered during this part because I was watching the kids and I was I looked up, what the fuck is going on? Being attacked by zombies? What the hell's happening?
Yeah.
So I had to figure out and go back and figure out.
I didn't even bother. I was
shifted into a fantasy scene somehow, even though it wasn't a daydream, like all the other fantasy scenes.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's a really terrible story if you track it. They're two hitchhikers, okay? They're walking down the road and a car pulls up. And nobody's driving it. And then zombies attack them.
It's maybe that's another idea for a movie that Rifkin had. It got rejected. So he put it into this. Probably.
Although if he would have pitched that movie 10 years ago, it probably would have got made because of the zombies. Get it into production. Slap it on Netflix.
Yeah.
Get it out now.
Get it. Zombies are hot. Let's go. Anyways, the whole time this is going on, Eddie tries to act like he's not scared as Tuesday screams like she's being forced to watch Never on Tuesday. Accurate. We see the zombies as Matt talks about them, as well as fog all around them, and Matt's super spooky dog shit story ends with Tuesday being attacked by a zombie from behind, which turns out just to be Eddie dropping his balls on her shoulder. She screams bloody murder since, you know, who wants some horny dude's dirty balls on your shoulder? Sorry, wait, no, it was just his hand, but I mean, let's be honest, it was probably on his balls a second earlier ago, so it's pretty much the same thing. Next, they play some slow jams, to which Eddie and Tuesday dance as Matt watches with his head on his hands like a schoolgirl in the 50s watching a crooner sing at the school dance. What the fuck are we watching? This movie is nonsensical and just terrible scene after terrible scene. Matt decides to cut in after Tuesday strokes the back of Eddie's neck for a bit. She takes off his glasses to put his face in her breast, and now Eddie watches from the campfire with a big crocodile smile on his face. Again, what the hell is happening?
What are we supposed to get from this? Like, she's kind of like sexily stroking the back of his head, like.
Yeah,
she's into him or something. Are we supposed to be getting like a bait and switch of like?
Is it another fantasy? Is it? It doesn't seem like it. But
no, I don't know. Maybe based off the ending, like this is her coming around to feel connected to these guys. Maybe they remind her of somebody in her life. I don't know. I think there was no real thought going into it. It's just you got to make it sexy. We cut to Matt and Tuesday at a dinner table with some socialites where Matt yells at his guest that their wives got old and fat while Tuesday is a vampire who never ages or some shit. I don't know. By this point, I wasn't really paying attention. My brain was starting to hemorrhage blood by this point. So Matt points out how Eddie's wife is the ugliest of all, which is kind of fucked up because that's supposed to be your best friend. And the old woman Eddie, the old woman Eddie's with makes out with him as Tuesday tongues Matt's ear. I don't know. Don't watch this movie.
It's way more uncomfortable than it even sounds.
Oh yeah, it was super uncomfortable.
It's just crazy, like us even describing this movie.
I know.
There are certain times that happens a lot of times when you're watching movies like this where you just feel bad for the actors who had to do this shit. It's just one of those scenes.
I just kept thinking, they told her, hey, lick his ear. We're already doing all this other degrading shit to you. We're just gonna turn it up a little bit more. Just lick it.
Can I lick Charlie Sheen's ear?
At least he's famous. I don't even know who these two fucks are.
This guy's gonna go on to be satellite technician. Charlie Sheen, at least, you know.
He was in Platoon.
He was on 2.5 Men eventually.
Platoon.
Oh God, I wonder if she was ever on that show. Anyways, let's not click on that. Matt and Tuesday suddenly throw their clothes off and start going at it at the dinner table while all their guests and us uncomfortably are forced to watch this fucking horrifying display. Then Matt picks up a cooked turkey and puts his fist into it while taking bites of it and riding Tuesday like a horse while he spits food directly in his guest's face. Shit turned into like the worst Tim and Eric sketch of all time.
And they had to throw a boob in there right at the end.
Mm-hmm.
Is there a boob in it?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Was it Tuesdays?
Boob pops out. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's like right at the end of the shot. It's just like
I don't
think it was
Tuesday's
intentional. I think it just
boobs.
happened because of.
I don't think it was
what she was
intentional.
wearing.
It didn't look like it was planned. It looked like it just fell out. And they're like, leave it in.
Yeah.
The poor woman.
Yeah.
Thank God she went into voice acting so she didn't have to be humiliated like this.
I feel so bad for her throughout this movie.
I know. We're coming up to it, but the worst scene, in my opinion, is coming up here in a bit. But Matt wakes up from that fever dream, still dancing with Tuesday, and he gives her a big old dopey grin. He tells her he accepts her the way she is, but he can't help finding her wildly attractive. She says he's very sweet, then hugs his head awkwardly. Yeah, that was weird. Yeah,
because he's short.
Yeah. Dawn breaks and we see the trio wake up to the scorching heat and drinking the last of the windshield washer fluid. Matt suddenly flips out that they're all going to die. Then he does a whole song and dance about not being able to breathe before running up and down the road for a bit while screaming out having to drink their own pee.
We're gonna have to drink our own pee!
Eventually, he runs back to them after we watch this utter garbage for a solid 5 minutes straight, and he passes out on the road after screaming, "We're in the middle of nowhere!" It was like comedy gold, folks.
It was just this weird one-shot, unbroken scene where, like, I guess it's like the one scene where they weren't using short ends of the film. It's like, was it all improv or what?
Just go, man. You're a fucking genius. Just go. Make comedy gold. I know you will.
While the two other actors are awkwardly trying to react to him.
Yeah, they're just losing it. I wish he would have cracked his skull on the fucking pavement and just died. But
maybe they're all hallucinating from drinking washer fluid because I'm pretty sure there are chemicals.
But it didn't even look like it looked like just dirty water.
Yeah,
I don't even think it was like actual washer fluid.
I remember back in the 80s, people used to just use water in there, but it depended on where you lived. Like if you lived in the higher states, that water would freeze. So they started making a mix where you could mix window washer fluid and water together, so you wouldn't freeze, but you would still have the washing power and all that kind of stuff. And then eventually everybody just stopped using water and they just started using window washer fluid that was pre-mixed. Mm-hmm. But it was a hell of a lot cheaper in the day to just use tap water and a mix.
That makes sense. Next, Matt fantasizes about Tuesday picking him up and taking him to a bed in the desert to bring him out of his daze because, of course he does. Like, what else would he fantasize about? We watch them make out for a bit while some ballerinas surround the bed. Then we pan up to the bodies of the children. Yeah, that's right. The ballerinas are children. And we see Matt and Tuesday naked having sex in the bed. Yep. Going at it while Tuesday is fully topless in front of a bunch of 10-year-olds.
I don't even think David Lynch would do a scene like this.
No. But this is when I started questioning, did Epstein finance this film? Then we cut back to reality where Tuesday and Eddie help Matt off the road and give him a bottle of piss to drink or something. I don't know. Take it away, Nigel.
Act 3, The Resolution.
Matt, who is supposed to be like 18 but looks 30, comes out of his heat stroke by sitting in a car and playing with a Batman figure that he pretends is an airplane for some reason. It's like Dark Helmet playing with his action figures.
Yeah.
Okay, you see him being like Rick Moranis? Yeah, kind of looks like him.
He could, yeah.
Can't imagine why Tuesday didn't want to switch sides for these dudes. Matt tells Eddie and Tuesday that he thinks he's going to be all right, and Tuesday comes up with the perfect solution to save their whole starvation, dehydration predicament. She pulls out her camera and starts taking pictures while someone starts making monkey noises over the cartoon soundtrack in the background.
Okay, come on. Man, you know what I would kill for right now, man? Captain Crunch with Crunch Bears, huh?
Yeah.
Something like that.
That's pretty accurate, yeah.
Yeah. Well, she takes candidates for the next 5 minutes. They really show off why she was told to drive to her gig in New York rather than getting a plane ticket. Or than being given a plane ticket, rather. Tuesday hands her entire livelihood over to Matt, the 30-year-old man who was just flying Batman around like an F-16 20 seconds ago, and he takes some amazing photos. Real Pulitzer Prize-worthy stuff. And he takes a turn and just shoots a close-up picture of Tuesday's tits, because of course he does. It's all fun and games now, but soon the police will be using these photos to piece together how these idiots managed to die in the desert. Or Judd Nelson will show up and sniff their dead corpses while laughing like Corky from Life Goes On.
You guys remember Corky?
Our audience? No.
Yeah. Tuesday shows the guys her portfolio, which includes close-ups of Rachel's portfolio. And Matt says it's too bad they'll never see each other again since they're going to be dead by nightfall. God, if only. Eddie says there's no way they're going to die because he refuses to die a virgin. So I guess that story about his dad raping him in the back of a plumbing truck or a glass elevator or whatever was bullshit. Well, they're all shocked by his admission, and he tries to walk it back, but they roast him for all the sex stories he's told that were bigger lies than Adam Rifkin saying, "Of course I have a great script for you." Eddie admits he lied about not being a virgin, prompting Matt and Tuesday to chant, "Eddie's a virgin," and dance around for a bit before Eddie roughly throws his only close friend in the world on the ground like an asshole. Guess that's what the future Mrs. Eddie can expect. Matt and Tuesday apologize for teasing him, and Tuesday tries to reassure him that it's okay, to which Eddie says, "What do you know about relationships? You're a lesbian." This guy really sucks. She says sex is easy, but without friendship, trust, and love, sex means nothing. Eddie is still insecure, and Tuesday asks why he feels inadequate just because he hasn't conquered every woman, and that women don't want to just be iraped and chased after for their bodies. Yeah, tell that to this movie.
I know. What a weird point to make when you're presenting the complete opposite in this fucking film.
Yeah. We're staring at her ass through the camera again in like 5 minutes.
Yeah.
She tells Eddie that women want to be...
From Judd Nelson's gaze, but, you know.
Does it make it okay?
No.
No. Judd Nelson vision. She tells Eddie that women want to be respected and not shown in movies having sex with horny losers in the desert or being surrounded by children dancing in ballerina outfits. He thanks her for the pep talk, and they give each other a fist bump. I guess it's character development.
Because they're bros.
Mm-hmm. Suddenly, Matt spots a car coming, which happens to be driven by a coked-out maniac with tiger blood. Although the character he plays is much more even-keeled and respectful. That's right. Charlie Sheen's in this pile of garbage somehow. He pulls up in Sam and Dean's car from Supernatural, and it's revealed to us after a painfully long dolly move that we see he's missing an eye.
Down and had a look on Highway 94. Trucks of heat, no food, no sleep. I can't bear this anymore.
He sports a leather jacket, smokes a cigarette, and is drinking a bottle of whiskey while driving down the road, so I guess he's just playing himself.
So I picture Charlie Sheen everywhere he goes.
Yeah. He said he just came while shooting Wall Street, so he didn't have time to prepare a character or anything. He just was like, just give me a fake eye.
I'll just play myself.
Yeah.
Should I snap in this one?
It's poetry, no shit.
He insinuates that the guys must have been plowing Tuesday all night, and then says, "Lady, I'll drink your bathwater," to Tuesday before taking a healthy swig of Jack Daniels.
He predicted the future because there are dudes that do drink women's bathwater.
That's true. And it'd probably taste better than Jack Daniels, so I can see why he'd want to.
You son of a bitch. You take that back.
He'd rather be drinking that. He chucks the whiskey on the ground and then pulls out a butterfly knife and grabs Matt by the hair and then demands they hand over everything they've got while Tuesday and Eddie just yell, "Hey, don't!" over and over.
Hey, don't. Hey.
Eddie gives Charlie all their money while Charlie tells Matt, "I could cut your pretty little throat with my pretty little knife right now if I wanted to. Just slice right across from ear to ear. Your blood would squirt 20 feet. Your life would squirt 20 feet. I seen blood squirt 20 feet. I'm guessing that's not the only thing Charlie Sheen has seen squirt 20 feet.
Oh, God.
So, over the course of the next 2 hours or so, Charlie demands every item they've all collectively had in their two broken-down cars while inspecting them one at a time before saying, "In the car," including that weird-ass brush that Matt bought from Gilbert Gottfried, which I think was the only joke I actually laughed at in this movie.
Yeah, me too.
The setup for it was good.
In the car.
Just him giving the spiel of it. It's a hairbrush and a toothbrush and a dog comb. In the car. Throughout the whole scene, Charlie keeps calling Eddie Fairy. In other words, to start with F, but we can't say anymore. But Eddie says he's not gay since that's important right now. Charlie says,
I used to rape guys like you in prison.
Oh, boy.
This movie is so jarring.
Then Charlie slams Matt against the VW bug and leaves, but not before saying, they say we all got a date with destiny. We'll consider this one a rain check. And he speeds off, leaving the trio traumatized and more destitute than they already were. The worst part is that he stole Tuesday's camera, so she won't have all those amazing photos they all took. They're all happy to just be alive, but Matt says Eddie didn't have to offer Charlie Sheen every single item they had, and Eddie says, I should have let him kill you.
I agree. He should have let him kill him.
Matt doesn't even flinch at his best friend saying he should have let a maniac slit his throat, but instead produces some money he had in his shoe. He fans his rancid foot money at them and says, $300. Or is it
$300?
All right. Yeah, $300, which sells them a fat lot of goods since they're all about to die in a desert. Matt excitedly says he's no longer afraid now that they're all about to die, and they all decide it's time to start trying to walk to the nearest town, which is 70 miles away. They start walking, but 10 seconds later, a motorcycle cop, inexplicably played by Judd Nelson, shows up, and he does his best to out-ridiculous all of the other actors who've shown up in the film so far.
How is his performance more cagey than Cage's?
I didn't even know that was who that was when I watched it.
I didn't recognize him at first either.
I thought it was Emilio Estevez since I knew that he was in it. And then when he shows up later, I was like, he was in this movie twice as two different characters.
Yeah, he's too tall to be Emilio.
If that tells you anything about how shitty the quality is of the YouTube one, that you couldn't tell Judd Nelson and Emilio Estevez
apart. Judd Nelson picks his mustache or sniffs his fingers. Either or. And he takes their statement about being robbed and crashing, et cetera, et cetera. Tuesday says that the guy stole her shower massager, and the cop says, I can't even do what voice he was doing, but he says, shower massage? Yeah, I got one of those. I got this kink right behind my neck, and then he gets them all to feel the knot in his neck while screaming, feel it! At them, and then moaning as they rub it.
Yeah, feel it. Yeah, feel it. Feel it. You feel it! Yeah, feel it.
It's tight.
Yeah, okay. Enough of this.
The fuck is happening?
It also really felt like the other actors didn't know what he was doing, and they were trying. It feels like a real genuine confusion off of every reaction they have for it. It's pretty funny to watch. They're like uncertain what they're doing, and like his outbursts, they like I legitimately flinch at, and like don't know what the fuck he's doing.
Dude, are you okay?
Keep looking at the camera directly.
Is this going to be all right? Or he just pulled a gun on me. He's a cop.
He asks if he can call their insurance companies for them, but Tuesday says no since she loves these idiots now or something. I'm pretty sure they're going to have to make that call anyway, but whatever. They're just going to leave their cars in the desert. Well, they all smile at each other, and Judd Nelson stuffs his notepad all the way down his pants and says he'll call for tow trucks.
He just stuffs it all the way down, like to his crotch.
I'm calling for a tow truck. It'll be here shortly.
Well, Matt and Eddie thank him, so the cop whips out his gun and screams, "Freeze, loser!" while screaming at Matt for absolutely no fucking reason at all. Then he twirls his gun, puts it in its holster while saying, "Just kidding," and then he giggles like a maniac before saying, "I love my job," like a Muppet character.
Freeze, loser! Ah! Just kidding. I love my job.
What the goddamn hell? They're genuinely confused. Like watch all of their reactions.
Yeah.
I love my job.
Like they were just held at knife point by Charlie Sheen, and they seemed more uneasy in this scene with Judd Nelson than they did in that scene.
Guessing at this point that Judd Nelson was more unhinged in real life than Sheen was.
Well, they all nervously laugh like that wasn't the most insane shit to ever fucking happen, and Tuesday walks away. Officer Nutcase stares at Tuesday's ass and asks if they've been out here all night with her, and if they're sad to see this situation end. Well, I think I speak for everyone when I say I can't fucking wait for it to end. Judd Nelson giggles and says hubba hubba, and then laughs like a mental patient for the next 2 minutes.
Hubba hubba.
I can't imagine why Judd Nelson didn't become a bigger star after the 80s. Officer Doofy then reaches into his bike saddlebag and pulls out an ice-cold Pepsi, which he shakes like a dick and then throws at Tuesday.
What a weird, so he has his saddlebags full of ice and an ice-cold Pepsi sitting on it like it's a fucking ad for Pepsi.
I'm telling you, that financed the whole movie.
Wasn't there an ad like that in the 80s? Or was it Coke? I think I remember. No, there's like a woman who's like rubbing a cold Coke.
Oh, yeah. I think
on
it was
her
Coke,
neck.
wasn't it? Yeah.
So maybe he was trying to play off of that.
The Adam Rifkin saw that commercial and wrote this entire movie based off of that.
But I'm going to do a
totally
Pepsi.
See that. Shit, I got to write a movie. I got 3 days. Turn on the TV. What's going on? Oh, that's a good idea. She's got nice boobs. I think I got it. All right.
Let me put my dick away and then I'll start writing.
Now, wait. I got 2 hands.
Time for the good old stranger.
And then they're in a bed with some ballerinas.
Fucking little kids. Jesus Christ.
Jesus Christ.
Fisting a turkey.
Oh, stick his fucking hand all the way up inside of it. Yeah. And he spits the food.
Then he shoves that notepad down his pants. I'm almost there. Then he grabs that Pepsi. All right, I'm going to that meeting.
Freeze, loser!
He says, keep cool, and makes finger guns at the guy since we can't go a second without him doing something batshit insane for some reason. He then starts his bike up and then yells at Matt and Eddie not to touch his motorcycle. He then tells them to put their hands up and rides off to go be insane somewhere else.
Imagine that guy showing up to an actual accident or something.
Yeah.
Fucking mangled corpse on the ground. Judd Nelson shows up. I love my job.
Drinks his Pepsi. Tuesday strokes Eddie's hair and starts kissing his neck, and Eddie turns around to her saying, well, Eddie, we haven't much time. Matt says, I got to hand it to you, Eddie, old boy. You said you'd convert her, and you did. Tuesday rips his shirt off, and they start banging on his hood, but he wakes up after that wet daydream all sticky and tells Tuesday, you know, I really like you. That's it. And cut away after that.
The hell was that? Was that like him finally coming to grips that like she is who she is and I shouldn't try and convert this poor woman? What? It's better not to analyze it, I guess.
Yeah.
Next, we're treated to a mentally challenged version of Cary Elwes who chugs Budweiser in his tow truck before giving one to Emilio Estevez, who has a sign on it that says, kick me, on his back. Jesus, please make it stop. Well, thankfully, it's almost over.
We're at the home stretch, boys.
Emilio asks Cary how his modern dance class is going, and Cary says,
well, I'll tell you, Zach. My thighs ain't half for killing me.
To which Emilio says, how your corn's holding up? And Cary says, not too bad now that I put talcum powder in my shoes.
Why? How? How did they get these people to do this stuff?
I imagine it was similar to what happened with Cage, where they just said you could do whatever you want.
And this is what
they all
chose
decided to do goofy shit because it's funny.
Fucking A, dude.
Tuesday, Matt and Eddie wish each other good luck, and they all laugh about how this ridiculous adventure they just had went down. Emilio suddenly just becomes mentally challenged and asks,
You three been out here all night?
Yep.
Uh-huh. Yeah. Just the three of yous?
I'm dead inside right now.
Just as stupid as it sounds. Just
it's kind of like watching.
Dumb.
It's kind of like watching Cats. When you just by the end of it, you're just mentally beaten, and you're just sort of like, okay, all right, okay.
Why is Judi Dench still talking directly into the camera? It's been 3 minutes.
Eddie starts to say there wasn't any funny business, but Tuesday suddenly gives him a big kiss on the lips, which I guess isn't a wet dream this time around.
Nope.
And then she gives Matt one too, while the slack-jawed yokels spill their beer on the ground.
This was very distracting because it sounded like somebody was peeing off screen the entire time that this was happening. Because that's supposed to be part of Adam Rifkin's kink.
I don't know. I think we're exposed to quite a few of his kinks in this movie, so makes sense. Well, she seductively thanks them for a wonderful evening that she'll never forget, while Cary Elwes continues to spill beer on the ground while sporting a stupid look on his face. Emilio and Cary look at each other and goofily laugh for a while before shitting into their hands and rubbing it in their hair. I guess she's just trying to mess with the tow truck drivers.
She's trying to give them cred, make them look cool in front of those dudes.
Yeah.
But they're never going to see these guys again.
I know.
Well, they high-five while Emilio gets in to drive one of the tow trucks while Cary continues to stare at them. Tuesday tells Matt and Eddie to knock all the California women dead, and Eddie tells Tuesday to give Rachel a big wet kiss on the lips for them.
Next, we see them mangling hooker bodies in Santa Monica.
Next, Emilio honks the horn for them to go, and Cary says, "Yeah, let's move it on all out now, y'all."
Princess Bride wrapped just before this movie.
Tuesday gives Matt and Eddie a big hug with tears in her eyes, and then they all give each other a high five and sniff their fingers for some reason. Did she ever learn their secret high five?
Apparently.
Yeah. Then they all stare at each other from their respective tow trucks before getting in to greet the idiot weirdo drivers. Emilio tells Tuesday he doesn't normally drive a tow truck, while Tuesday tries not to sob. Oh, it has nothing to do with Matt and Eddie. She just can't stand the stench of his truck. Or she's worried he's going to kill her.
Both plausible.
Mm-hmm.
Meanwhile, Cary tells Matt and Eddie, "You know, you fellers are lucky. That sure is some hot patootie you got back there." And he laughs like Beavis for a bit while sticking out his jaw.
That sure is some hot patootie you got back there.
It makes goofy small talk about them heading to Los Angeles and laughing like an idiot, but the guys are too busy crying or holding their breath. Something. Acting. We see the tow trucks head off in separate directions, and we are finally greeted by the warm embrace of the credits, thus concluding this 90-minute nightmare that we all felt like went on for 2 days in real time. The end.
Excuse me.
Oh, God. The things we do for you people. The 5 people who watch this show. The things we do.
We love you. We appreciate you.
We did a special 50th episode of Never on Tuesday. Please, someone please appreciate the pain that we just went through. Several times on this show, we've watched films that I'd categorize as traumatically bad. And Never on Tuesday definitely fits that bill.
I'm calling for a tow truck. It'll be here shortly.
I don't know about you, but when I've been traumatized by something awful, I go to my happy place. And that place is entertainmentearth.com. They have all sorts of good stuff to make you forget the leering perverts in this crap fest. Like this awesome motorized Deadpool head. You won't make me watch Judd Nelson stuff things in his pants again, will you, Deadpool? Please don't make me watch it again. Entertainment Earth has everything you could want if you're into comics, pop culture, collectibles, and everything in between. And you know you're in good hands because they've been at it for over 25 years. Stock up on ways to bury the pain and scrub the memory of Cary Elwes' terrible hillbilly accent over at entertainmentearth.com. And make sure to enter our coupon code CAGEPOD to get an extra 10% off all in-stock items at checkout.
We have a couple of questions before we move on.
All right, couple of questions. I don't even know why we bother asking any questions. Where did that reel at the beginning of the movie come from? Just the girls' asses.
Yeah, somebody's home movie that they bought.
Weinstein's Home Collection.
I mean, they were obviously watching something. So
yeah. I mean, in universe, if we're going by the rationale of them just sitting in Ohio, jacking it to watching this video, like, where the hell did this come from? How did they get a hold of this? They
traded it with some guys on the bus. It was in a VHS tape with a going overboard slipcase.
Yeah. All right. I'm going to go with that. I think that's
me too. It's canon.
What in the goddamn hell was with that scene with the ballerinas? Were they supposed to represent something, or was that just put in to be funny, or was it Adam Rifkin's kink? What the hell was that supposed to be?
Yeah.
I don't know. I really don't understand what the whole point of that scene was.
Boobs.
Just boobs.
I get the boobs part, but why do you need children dancing
to
around
make
the
it
bed?
artsy? It really does. Maybe he was trying to go for a Lynchian thing.
I did. That's where I first went. But even Lynch wouldn't fucking have children dancing around a bed with two adults having sex in it. He does weird shit, but not that weird.
Lynch has taste.
He wrote it and then filmed it.
I don't know.
I was gonna say he wrote it. Somebody wrote that, and then someone had to film it, but it's the same guy. So I don't know. And to subject the actors to it, and
I don't know, man. It's just very off-putting, and I think it was supposed to be like cute and funny, and it just creeped me the fuck out.
Yeah, there are times when you're just like, this is actual human beings did that. It's not just. It's a scene in a movie, but actual people had to film it and were there for it, and went and got craft services afterwards. Like, what?
You had to convince parents to let their kids be in this nude scene in the middle of the desert. I mean, if Dance Moms is a thing, then I guess it's like, well, there are terrible parents all over the place. So.
Cool.
How in the hell did these unknown filmmakers convince legitimate Hollywood stars to show up and act like absolute dumb shits, even though it could have possibly ruined their careers? How in the hell? How did they do that? I mean, I get that they're friends, but like, there's a point, right? There's like a point where you're like, I don't know, man. I was just in Wall Street. Like,
maybe they didn't know at the time, like they were just told like, yeah, let's do a one-day cameo of something. And they didn't know how shitty it was going to be like the rest of the movie.
Yeah,
or how ridiculous.
because all their scenes were very isolated. So
I mean, they were probably told it's a comedy, so go nuts, do something funny.
I get the feeling that they were completely improv, aside from maybe Charlie Sheen's scene, which seems like it actually had some threads.
Yeah.
But every just, it just felt like they just
show up, do something funny,
whatever you want.
And we'll just leave it in the movie.
I have a feeling they weren't sent the script. They were just said, hey, come, would you do this for us? Come, here's your characters. Here's the scene that we're doing. Run with it.
Yeah.
Because the rest, because those scenes are way different than everything else in the film. Like the rest of the movie, there's no comedy to be found, but those cameos are like the only points where there's something funny going on in them.
Yeah. What's the only point that they actually
funny
had actors?
is loose. Yeah.
Yes.
Loose term. Yeah.
And I get like it's it's a 20-year-old's movie, so he obviously doesn't know how to direct actors. So it would make sense to just tell actors to just show up and do whatever they want, and he'll film it basically, and then the other 3 actors sort of have to just react to it.
I just imagine like when Cage came out with that outfit and the nose and shit. He's like,
if you watch, their reactions seem genuine in that scene too, because they start laughing. Like Tuesday starts to
maybe
laugh.
that was like a one take and he just showed up and that was it.
So.
Yeah. I mean, we've filmed comedy. It can be fun and funny, ridiculous. So
yeah.
And maybe it was just a nice break. Like these guys are, they're young enough that they remember starting their career and stuff, but now they've also worked on films that were demanding and had directors that required them to do something and play characters for months or whatever, and they just wanted to get back to just do a funny improv scene for a day and get some money for it.
Yeah.
And move on.
So they all would have been about like 25, 26 at that point.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I guess, they're still young, still goofy, wanting to do goofy shit.
Mm-hmm.
What was with the kick me sign on Emilio Estevez's back? Is that his idea? Was that supposed to be Cary Elwes' idea? He put it on his back.
Did he even know about it?
Yeah.
Did he even know in the entire time they were shooting?
That's a better question. Did he even know that was on his back?
I want to say no because it's funnier that way.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's a little detail that you might not notice, but
yeah.
My final question that I hope I ever ask about Never on Tuesday. How many times do you think Adam Rifkin jacked off while he was writing this?
All.
He had 3 days. It's just the entire time. Just edging through the whole fucking script.
They explain the movie. At least the opening act.
He's like, and then they're in the shower.
She never wears a bra. It's important she never wears a bra.
Yeah. He's got that written into the script.
Scene notes. Never wears bra. God damn it.
Yeah.
Maybe that's what we should call this. Never wears a bra.
Silk skirt. She's got to wear a silk skirt.
And I want all of the photos of the women who were potentially going to be cast. Every single one of them with no bra on.
That's what that picture of Rachel came from. Some other actors. They say, oh, they send lingerie pictures to him.
Yeah. Any other questions?
Do you think that was paid Pepsi product placement?
Maybe.
I think so.
Because I don't know the rules. I can't remember the rules for film stuff. Like, there are rules about using products in movies, I thought, but I can't.
There are some, but I know like in Talladega Nights, they went super heavy with products everywhere, and they didn't get any money for that. They did it because of the nature of NASCAR. Mm-hmm. And like, of course, there would be products all over the fucking place, and like they did it as a joke just to make it over the top. Mm-hmm. So I don't know, maybe not. Like, as long as you're not saying something disparaging about it.
Yeah. Maybe he was hoping for some Pepsi product placement, like some money from Pepsi. Like,
I still love the theory that he watched that commercial and was just like, oh, I got an idea for a movie now.
It almost feels too perfect. Like, it had to have happened. Yeah. Although maybe that commercial came out in the 90s. I don't know.
I don't remember. I do remember it as a kid.
Maybe it was Pepsi. I can't remember. But
I don't know.
It was Coke.
Was it Coke?
Was it Coke?
I think it was, yeah. Well,
I remember for a minute
red,
there, like,
maybe because she was wearing a red dress. I don't know.
Pepsi like really went full bore on product placement and commercials and stuff there for a while.
It could have just been a commentary on the Cola Wars and how their ads were going nuts at the time, maybe, and that's why I'll put a Pepsi in my movie. Ice cold Pepsi out of a saddlebag.
I doubt
also, there was
any
other
commentary going on.
Like, what an asshole. Like, there was other Pepsis in that saddlebag. You could have given it to the other two guys, too, but he just throws it to the chick.
I like that he shakes it up first. And then what a bastard. Hey, I know you haven't drank anything in days. Here, fuck you. And you only get one. Share it.
My other one, maybe the movie doesn't deserve it. Is Tuesday actually a lesbian? Or do you think she was just saying that to not have to get hit on by these two guys, which didn't work, by the way? Because it seems weird that she, does the whole like sexy seduction thing with him at the start. It just seems out of place for somebody who actually was a lesbian to do it. Just to tell them that, and then at the end to give them a kiss each and try to make them look cool to the other guys. But it was like, was she actually giving him a kiss because she had feelings for him, and she was?
I got the sense that she was a lesbian, and she was doing that just because she did care about them at the end, but didn't care about them at the beginning and was just fucking with them at the beginning.
Yeah.
That was what I got out of it, but it's never on Tuesday, so who the fuck knows? Could be anything.
I mean,
who the fuck knows?
I would be shocked. I'm shocked if Adam Rifkin didn't know how to write a proper lesbian character. Shocked, I tell you.
Hey, he went on to make Overboard.
Which has a tie to lesbians in my weird coincidences of my life.
The only question I had is, do you think this is what inspired Kevin Smith to write Chasing Amy?
I could see it.
I could see him liking this movie.
I could see him finding this movie in a video store and being what the fuck is this? Charlie Sheen and Emilio Estevez and wow, okay. Though I doubt they're credited on the box, but I don't know. I definitely could see him watching this back when he was working at the video store.
It's time to keep track. Here are the final stats.
All right, that leads us over to the Cage Curse Tracker.
Nothing. I mean, his lines are, is everybody all right? Can I get anybody a lift?
That's it.
That's it. And then he laughs.
And then he giggles.
And then he giggles.
So no, there's no cursing in this one. So we are still at. Actually, that might be. I was going to say it's not a streak. Because in our arbitrary rule or collection of movies, we had 3 movies back to back where he didn't swear, which was Book of Secrets, Christmas Carol, and Renfield. So this is a two movie streak, probably 3. I doubt he swears in The Croods, but I don't know. So maybe we'll keep the streak up after this. But yeah,
we might actually go on a really long streak here because we're going to do a bunch of animated films after this.
So maybe this is maybe we'll sit at 716 for a while, but that's what we're currently at still.
We might be at 716 until Dream Scenario. That's crazy. Runtime, this had a mercifully short runtime of 90 minutes. It is the 5th shortest movie that we've talked about on this. Thank God. I couldn't take it anymore. If you couldn't tell by the breakdown, I just could not take it anymore.
It feels way longer than 90 minutes. It's just
it's just so it's like torture through the whole thing. So yeah, that puts it just above Willy's Wonderland. It's produced by Adam Rifkin. And just below Pig. Think about what they did with Pig in 92 minutes versus what they did with Never on Tuesday in 90. Nudity. There were Tuesday's breasts multiple times, but only 2. They were in multiple scenes, but only 2. This was an R-rated film. It did get a rating. I don't know how, but it did get a rating. 85 breasts total now. Still that eternal debate. Will it end on an even or odd number? State and country tracker, I wasn't really sure. They said that
I guess
it wasn't
I did have
California.
a question that I forgot, which it relates to this. Like, what road are they on that goes from LA to New York that doesn't have any traffic at all? Like,
there are some pretty deserted roads, especially in Nevada and like lower Arizona, closer to Mexico. I've been on a few of those roads where it really is like kind of like this, where there's not much, and there's signs that say like, you know, next services are, you know, 150 miles away or something like that. So I feel like it's plausible. I don't know what state to put this in though.
Yeah, because it's not California. And
no,
just looking
you said
at
that they're spilling out into neighboring states. So I would say it's either Nevada or Arizona.
Yeah, because looking at just the possible routes that go to New York that go through Ohio, it's like Arizona, New Mexico, Texas, Oklahoma are kind of the main deserty states you'll get to. I doubt it's as far as Oklahoma or Texas. So
I bet it was Nevada.
I'd say either Arizona or Nevada or New Mexico.
Because it wouldn't make sense for them to drive further south than they needed to from Ohio. So I would say Nevada would be the most likely one. But New Mexico is plausible too.
Well, they may, like, if they're going south, they may not have even touched Nevada because LA's kind of parallel with Arizona.
Yeah,
so,
that's true.
At least just doing a Google map in 2024 instead of, 1987 or whatever the hell this was supposed to be. It's like you don't go through Nevada at all. You go through Arizona. So my vote would be Arizona.
Okay. Well,
also,
in that case,
just drop a pin anywhere into a highway in Arizona. It looks like this fucking desert that they're in.
It is
so,
true,
even though they filmed it in California. But
100% true. Then in that case, that would be our second time to Arizona after Raising Arizona. What a worthy film to follow up, Raising Arizona. Budget versus gross, I couldn't find anything. That's the second time that's happened now. So we're still stuck at $1.367.5 billion budget with a $2.947 billion gross. As far as top grossing, we can't even put it on the map. So it's down with Time to Kill because I have no fucking idea what Time to Kill made or Never on Tuesday. I don't think Never on Tuesday was ever released in a theater at all.
I would be shocked.
VHS.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think Time to Kill, at least in the United States, was released direct to video as well. I still wonder, did it get any kind of theatrical release in Italy? As far as ratings, this is our 27th R-rated film. Still shocked that it got a rating, but I guess they kind of rated everything back then, didn't they?
Yeah. Yep.
And that leads us over to the Nicolas Cage kill tracker. I wish he would have killed 3 people.
Yeah, I know. Same. So 0 kills. So we're still at 201 for overall. And the death tracker, 0 deaths on his part in this film. So we're sitting at 14 on that. So just like the curse tracker, super simple this time around. I guess that's what happens when you're only in a minute of the freaking film.
Not even that.
Not even that.
30 seconds.
Yeah.
Well, this was a real pile of shit. Let's rank this film on the Cageometer.
All right, that leads us over to the most important question that we ask on this show. Vince, where do you rate Never on Tuesday on your Nicolas Cage Cageometer?
I feel like giving it a 1 is too harsh. But I'm going to. I don't want to talk about this film anymore than we already have, so that's why it's getting a 1. It's not a great film. Awful. Just all over the place. Very confusing at times. Very just written poorly. I guess he's 20, so whatever. Give him a pass, but still a 1. As far as Cage's performance, how the fuck do you give 30 seconds of I mean, I loved it because it's so fucking ridiculous, but
I will say it is goddamn memorable. That is for sure.
Yeah.
Like, you're never going to forget this.
No. But it's such a short, so I'll just go 5 because there's not really much to really. I mean, if you're like really if you really want to be analytical, which I don't, because this movie doesn't deserve any real critique or like in-depth analysis, you pick him apart, but just to get over and done with this fucking film, give him a 5. It's memorable, but there's not enough to really give it a good critique of.
All right, Nigel, where does Never on Tuesday rate on your Cageometer?
I do think giving it a 1 is a little bit harsh, so I'm giving it a 2, just because the cameos were slightly entertaining. I think just go watch those if you can find that, because there's not an actual movie. Yeah. It is written horribly, tries to do some weird comedy drama something, but it's stupid, so it's not worth watching for it. I don't know. It's Never on Tuesday. Like I don't want to analyze it and give it like a critical eye, really. Like it's just,
exactly.
It's better than Arsenal, maybe. So I put it kind of on the same level. I think I gave Arsenal a 2, or maybe it was a 1 for Arsenal.
I think it was a 1, yeah.
Yeah, so I'll give you like a 2. It's got a structure to it. There's, the characters are kind of memorable and consistent, sort of. I don't know. Whatever. It's 2. It's just... I don't want to talk about it anymore.
There's a theme.
Yeah. Cage, I'll be more generous than Vince as well. I'll give him a 7 just because I think it is a memorable, funny, goddamn legendary scene. 30 seconds, whatever his thing is. Everybody should see this scene in his performance of it, because you won't forget it. It's so batshit insane, and knowing that he had free reign to do it, it was all him, 100%. He had 30 seconds to do that, and he gave you something that's probably the most standout thing in the movie.
Easily, yeah.
So, I mean, yeah, that's I was like, should I give him like a 9 or a 10 just because it's so fucking funny? But like, there's not enough there to do it. It's not fair. It's not fair to his actual great performances. So I'll say a 7. It's entertaining. He gave you something memorable out of it. It's a shame that most people probably will never see this, never see that performance or get it light of day, because most people don't know it exists. But the fact that
it's a good thing that nobody will see this movie.
Yeah, but the fact that just the oddity of this character, unnamed Pinocchio Ferrari guy, it's fucking amazing. It's so good. I could watch that scene on repeat just because it's just so ridiculous. So yeah,
it's amazing.
Give him a 7.
Do you think that was his Ferrari?
No. I don't know. Like, was it in the script? Like, we've got a Ferrari, so this guy's Ferrari guy, and you got to play Ferrari guy, or was he like? That was one of his things. Like, I want a Ferrari. Like, I want to have this guy be in a Ferrari.
And they had to rent a Ferrari for him. I got to assume it was his Ferrari. I have to.
I swear somebody said it was. I swear there was like a piece. Okay. He said it. I remember hearing.
Yeah, I don't know if the film had a budget to rent a Ferrari. So.
Yeah, I can't even imagine.
Probably more than the actual budget of the whole movie. So yeah, it had to have been somebody's.
Yeah. I mean, it could have been one of the producers or one of the other cameo stars, maybe. Mm-hmm. But I mean, Cage is a car guy. I would assume. Mm-hmm. I assume it was his. Yeah. On my Cageometer, same thing. Like, I enjoyed this movie more than Arsenal, so I have to give it more than a 1. So I gave it a 2. It's got a structure, like Nigel said. It does have memorable moments, especially in the cameos. So, is it worth watching? Absolutely not. But it's not the worst movie we've ever watched, which is saying a lot.
Yeah.
As far as Cage, same thing. Like, he had 30 seconds. So I gave him a 6. Nigel kind of swayed me to maybe give him a 7, but I think I'll split the difference between the two of you. It's like he had nothing to work with. He just showed up and said, "Is everybody hurt? Is anybody hurt? Can I give anybody a ride?" And what he gave us was one of the most memorable 30 seconds of film ever captured on a short end.
Yeah, I guess that is true.
Incredible. Is anybody hurt? Like, who the fuck would do? Like, who else in the world would come up with that? I've got 30 seconds. All right. How about I be live action Pinocchio, but he's really troubled and he's having a hard time, and I get really into the character of Pinocchio as an adult, and I'd show up in my Ferrari and I got my windbreaker. I'm a middle-aged yuppie Pinocchio. And my nose is real long because I've been telling lies for a long time. Who the fuck would come up with that besides Nicolas Cage? It's incredible. We say it all the time. Exclusive. We say it all the time, but like this guy has an incredible ability to make something memorable that doesn't even need to be memorable. It's just like, you just never know what to expect. You never know what to expect from Nick Cage. It's incredible. He can be a leading man or he can be a character actor. He's one of the only people. Like I can't think of too many leading men who can also be character actors.
Cary Elwes.
Yeah. And Brad Pitt, he's pretty good at character acting.
Yeah.
Nick Cage.
Is he though?
He is, man. Go back and watch
actor?
12 Monkeys.
Yeah, watch the movies where he really tried.
Snatch. I would argue like you look at like Interview with a Vampire versus Fight Club. Like he's got a really good range. I don't think people give him credit because he's super hot and like that's what he got famous for, was being super hot. But like he actually has some range as an actor. But yeah, Nick Cage is one of the only ones who he kind of made a transition from being a character actor to being a leading man. Yeah. And then now he's kind of come back to being a character actor again. It's come full circle.
Here it is, the moment you've all been waiting for. These are the cagiest moments of the film.
He explained it to me once. It went like this. See, your intake of food is typically your
How you doing?
Is anybody hurt?
No, everybody's fine.
I guess somebody left.
Oh man, that's all right. Got everything under control.
That's it for this episode of One Cage at a Time. As always, be sure to drop us an email at onecagepodcast@gmail.com to let us know if we missed anything. Please don't on this one. Just leave it in the past. Or hit us up with suggestions to improve the show, comments, compliments, or simply to gush about the legend that is live-action Pinocchio. Next up, we'll be doing something a lot different than what we normally do. Nicolas Cage has been in 8 animated films in his career, which is a healthy amount. One of which we did last Christmas, that stupid, horrible Christmas Carol, the movie. But since we have no Christmas movie to talk about this year, which is the first season that we've done where we didn't have a Christmas movie, we figured we'd make a celebration out of, make a whole week of Christmas. But not really. We're just doing the 7 days of animated Cagemas. So we're going to do all of the other 7 animated films right in a row. We're going to release them one day apart over the course of 7 days during Christmas this year. We're going to record them in real time in the middle of summer, but ignore that. Pretend it's Christmas, and we're putting them all out in 1 week. That is mostly so we can just get those in the rear view and focus on Cage's real body of work, stuff that we actually want to talk about. But I do think that there's some stuff we should go through, and we should talk about those because there are some very memorable moments in some of those. But first up, we'll be talking about the highest grossing film of Nick's career, at least so far, The Croods. I can't believe we're going to talk about The Croods.
I can't believe it's the highest grossing movie.
Yeah, by quite a bit.
So
it's like 500 and something million. It's crazy. Yeah, kids movie. Yeah. Nick plays a stubborn caveman stuck in his ways until he is faced with a genius cave boy, played by Ryan Reynolds, who invents a bunch of stuff to help he and his caveman family leave their dangerous cave behind to look for a new home. And we all grow as they do. We all grow together. Anyways, make sure to check it out wherever fine films are sold or on your streaming service of choice. Until then, we'll say goodbye the way we do each and every episode with our Nicolas Cage quote of the film.
How you doing?
Is anybody hurt? Thanks for listening to One Cage at a Time. Visit us online at onecageatatime.com or follow us on the social media platform of your choice for more Nicolas Cage goodness. Don't forget to like and subscribe to our YouTube channel, and if you really like the show, become a member of our Patreon where you can download unedited and ad-free episodes, as well as listen to our follow-up show, Back Into the Cage, where we re-examine each movie to discuss what we missed the first time around, answer listener questions, and wax poetic about the man, the myth, the legend that is Nicolas Cage.
Lucky Larry Lupin brush.
What?
There's 4 brushes in one. It's a hairbrush, a lint brush, a dog brush, and a toothbrush.
In the car.